10:47 p.m. Underground parking garage. Motion sensor lights flickered, cold air from the vents. The woman's wheelchair hit an oil slick. Her crutch caught in concrete. The elevator dinged, doors closing. "Please don't hurt me. I can't walk fast," she whispered, not begging, just asking for safety. A tall man removed his hard hat and gloves. Light caught his old fire badge, E. Lennox. He raised both empty hands. "I'm not here to scare you." "Who are you?" "A single dad. I used to pull people from fires. Tonight, if you let me, I'll pull the fear out instead." Ava Hart, 31, CEO of Hart Labs. 3 years since the accident that took her ability to walk. She was brilliant, direct, and refused to be treated like a problem. She ran the company through closed-door meetings, avoiding crowds. Her unspoken rule? No one touches the wheelchair without asking first. Eli Lennox, 38, electrician on the night shift, former firefighter, discharged after a shoulder injury, calm, methodical, living with his 9-year-old daughter, his new job, fixing things so others could move safely. Mia, 9 years old, Eli's daughter, obsessed with sticking star stickers on everything. She'd written in silver marker on each one, "We don't panic, we plan." She called them her dad's calm charms. The underground garage smelled like motor oil. White parking lines faded into gray. A security camera hung at an odd angle. A chipped emergency exit sign glowed dimly in the corner. Ava had just finished a tense call with legal. A shipment of accessibility equipment for schools was stuck at the port. Paperwork issues. She decided to sleep at the office and finish new documents before 6 a.m. She hated how people weaponized inspiration. Every time she appeared, people smiled too much, offered help too fast, and often grabbed her wheelchair without asking. It stripped away her control. Eli was checking the electrical panel's load logs. He wrote, "Ballast in corridor B3, degraded." He liked keeping things running smoothly so nobody noticed his work. Metal scraped. Wheels slipped. He stepped forward but kept his distance. He spoke slowly, clearly, not to startle. "I'll stand here until you tell me what you need." Ava looked at his empty, raised hands. Her shoulders dropped. She took a breath. "I can manage. If I slip, ask first before touching." "Clear." Eli bent lower to meet her eye level, reducing pressure. He pointed at the camera. "This area has cameras. I don't want any misunderstandings either." They both moved toward the elevator. Eli held the door open but didn't push. Ava rolled in on her own. Small movements like unspoken permissions. The elevator lights flickered, signaling a fault. Eli opened the panel, tapped the relay bar lightly. Power stabilized. The cabin rose. They stood facing each other in a silence that didn't feel uncomfortable. A respected quiet. Ava glanced at his old fire badge. "You were a firefighter?" "Yeah. The old job taught me to walk into fear with a plan." The door opened on the 24th floor. Caleb Pierce stepped in. Co-o, dark suit, silk tie, expensive cologne. He glanced at the star sticker on Eli's helmet, then turned to Ava. "Tomorrow we'll talk. Tonight you should rest. Tomorrow we meet. Tonight I work." Ava's tone was calm. Caleb shrugged, stepped back, leaving a scent of disapproval. At the end of the hallway, Ava stopped by the glass doors. City lights scattered like fallen stars. She spoke as if to herself. "Long day." Eli started to leave. Ava called out, "What's your name?" "Eli." "Thanks for standing beside me, not instead of me." Eli tapped the star sticker lightly. "My daughter made me wear this. She insists." Ava laughed for the first time that day. Small laugh, but it warmed the glass. She mentioned the stuck equipment shipment. Eli asked a few technical questions about transport and storage. Ava was surprised an electrician knew about supply chain operations. Eli shrugged. "I meet lots of teams. Hear them complain more than I fix things." Real person detail 1. Ava pulled out an old key card from her wallet. Broken clip. "My first day back at work after recovery. I keep it to remember. Starting over is hard, but not impossible." Eli nodded. "My daughter says, don't panic, plan. When people are scared, they need someone to hold the plan." Ava looked at her fingers on the wheel rim. She hated being pushed. She loved controlling her own movement. People like Eli, who knew how to keep a safe distance, were rare. "Hope you have a productive night," Eli said. "Hope your shift goes smooth," Ava replied. Behind them, the building hummed with late-night energy. Security guards changed shifts. Cleaning crews pushed carts. Somewhere a printer whirred. The city never truly slept. Eli checked his watch. Mia would be asleep by now at his sister's place. He'd pick her up before school, make breakfast, check her homework. The routine kept him grounded. Ava wheeled toward her office. The glass reflected her silhouette, strong shoulders, determined posture. She'd learned that strength wasn't about standing. It was about moving forward no matter how. The elevator door closed like a soft lock on a truss just placed. Small conference room on the 24th floor, warm yellow lights, coffee maker ticking. Ava didn't sit at the head of the table. She chose the spot by the window. She valued perspective over power. Legal email pinged her inbox. Port procedures required safety certification for the equipment. She replied within 5 minutes. She wouldn't let anything delay the schools that were waiting. Eli returned with a technical folder. Power fluctuation logs from parking level B3. Notes on degraded ballast. Notes on the misaligned camera. He reported carefully, like writing fire incident reports. Old habits. Ava asked about his recovery time. Eli told the story. Warehouse roof fire. The roof collapsed. He carried a small boy out. Left shoulder, torn tendon, long rehab. Doctor said don't go back to the old job. He found new work that still kept people safe. Ava shared her accident. Brakes failed. Frame collapsed. Then came days of standing practice with support frames. Some days, moving 2 millimeters counted as progress. She didn't like being called a hero just for going to work every day. They both laughed softly about how people pushed wheelchairs without asking permission. Eli said, "I teach Mia the first rule of helping anyone. Ask first." The lights flickered. Eli frowned. He said he'd go down to the basement to check the backup power supply. Ava said, "I'm coming with you. It's dark, narrow, and loud down there. I decide my own path. Maintenance corridor, smell of metal, stale air, old emergency exit map." Ava controlled her wheelchair through an oil streak. Eli walked half a step behind, ready to block if needed, not to pull. They reached a hidden corner. Caleb stood with an electrical contractor, voice low, sharp as a blade edge. "Don't fix it completely. I need a reason to pull budget from the accessibility project." Eli made the silent signal he used with Mia. Puffed cheeks, slow exhale. Ava smiled briefly. She hit record on her phone in her coat pocket, kept her face neutral like she'd heard nothing. Ava rolled out, introduced herself fully. Caleb froze for a beat. He switched to quarterly budget talk. Unconsciously, he placed his hand on the wheelchair handle, about to turn her. Eli stepped to block gently. "Excuse me. Don't touch mobility equipment without consent." The air froze. Caleb laughed. "Of course." He pulled his hand back, left the hallway. Cologne fading, left a trail of suspicion in Ava's eyes. Back in the room, Ava let her shoulders relax. She said, "Moving is hard. Staying firm on decisions is harder." Eli touched his star sticker. "We don't panic, we plan. Tomorrow you'll need a plan." They sketched a 7 a.m. checklist. It pulls entry card logs and camera angles. Internal tech checks power connections. Legal handles the recording and meeting script. Security circles basement responsibility. Ava looked at the broken key card and smiled. These small things really do open doors. Eli told the story of Mia sticking stars on his hard hat. She says if Dad's scared, look at the star and remember, don't panic. Ava looked at the glass, the city like a circuit board map. She knew tomorrow would be confrontation. She hated this, but she wouldn't hide. She messaged her assistant not to cancel the meeting schedule. She liked people who spoke little and did much, like Eli. Hard work doesn't usually make noise. Before leaving, Ava turned. "If tomorrow gets loud, where will you stand?" "At eye level with whoever needs to be heard," Eli answered. The answer placed a principal down like a foundation stone. The door closed. Night deepened. A small plan rested between two strangers, waiting for morning to light up like a new hallway bulb. 2 a.m. Ava reviewed documents, export codes, safety certifications, insurance clauses. Every word mattered. One wrong phrase could trap equipment for weeks. Eli walked the building perimeter, checked exit signs, tested emergency lights, tightened loose outlet covers. The work was invisible but essential. Like oxygen, you only notice when it's gone. He thought about the warehouse fire, the boy's grip around his neck, the weight, the heat, the choice to move forward even when the roof groaned. Some decisions you make in seconds, some you live with forever. Ava thought about the first day back at work, rolling through the lobby, everyone staring, some with pity, some with inspiration-porn eyes. She'd wanted to scream. Instead, she'd smiled, nodded, kept moving. That broken key card in her wallet was proof. She'd survived the hard part. Everything after was just practice. At 4 a.m., Eli texted his sister. Pick Mia up at 7:30, might run late. At 4:15, Ava set 3 alarms. She couldn't afford to miss this meeting. The city outside shifted from black to deep blue. Dawn approaching, the confrontation coming. Two people who'd met by chance, now standing together by choice. Not because they were similar, because they understood. Respect isn't about agreement. It's about seeing someone clearly and still choosing to stand beside them. 9 a.m., large conference room, glass walls reflecting traffic streams. Around the table, executive board, legal, IT, engineering. Caleb sat to Ava's right, straight back, fingers tapping rhythm. Ava opened the meeting with last night's audio. Caleb's voice saying, pull budget from the accessibility project. Faces rippled like water hit by stones. Caleb deflected. Recordings lose context easily. We have to maintain profit margins. Ava replied, profit margins aren't a reason to reduce accessibility. Eli entered wearing his hard hat with star stickers. He placed circuit diagrams and fluctuation logs on the screen. He pointed to deliberately loosened connections, timestamps matching Caleb's card entry logs. Camera angled away at the perfect blind spot. A silver-haired board member smirked. You're a night shift electrician? Why do you sound like a national safety investigator? Eli placed his old fire badge on the table. My old job taught me to walk into fear with a plan. When a roof catches fire, you have 45 seconds to decide, and a lifetime to not repeat mistakes. I don't wear the red helmet anymore. But the principles stayed the same. The room went quiet. People looked at the badge. Tarnished metal, real history, not a prop. Ava gave him the floor. Mr. Lennox, continue with the technical section. A small gesture, but loud. Competence matters more than title. Eli presented the event chain, power fluctuations, loosened connections, misaligned camera, entry logs. He didn't accuse. He presented data. Each slide ended with the same short phrase. Don't panic. Plan. His hands were steady, voice calm. He'd walked into burning buildings. A boardroom didn't scare him. Caleb counterattacked. The CEO lets a single dad and an electrician guide billion-dollar decisions. This is a tech company. Ava looked around. Heart Labs was founded to empower access. If we use billions to silence the person keeping this building safe, we lose our soul. The CFO leaned forward. What's the financial impact of the 7-week plan? Ava was ready. 2.3 million. Less than 0.05% of annual revenue. The cost of doing nothing? Our reputation, our mission, and eventually, our people. The board chair nodded slowly. She'd built her career on ethics, not just profit. IT presented card logs. Security presented camera timeline. Legal presented documentation confirming audio integrity. The room went cold. An outside board member asked Caleb directly, do you have an explanation for these timestamps? Caleb shifted. I was inspecting the facility. That's my job. At 11 p.m. in a basement corridor with an electrical contractor off the books? Silence. Caleb had no answer that didn't dig deeper. The board chair asked shortly. Proposal? Ava said. Suspend Caleb pending internal audit. Priority funding for Access Initiative on the 7-week plan. Quick vote, majority approved, 8-2. Caleb stood silent, eyes empty for a moment, then he pocketed his device, left the room in glass silence. The room held only Ava, Eli, and the head of legal. A quiet moment. The city blurred under sunlight. Ava turned back. I want you to lead the Hard Access Initiative. Audit accessibility in schools, hospitals, libraries, not as security, as head of field readiness. Eli hesitated. Mia's schedule, insurance, pressure. I'm good at tightening bolts and changing bulbs. A management chair will make me talk too much. Ava placed the broken key card on the table. I'm not choosing you out of pity. I'm choosing you because you're useful. This card isn't perfect, but it opens the right doors. The head of legal added, we need someone who understands systems, not just technology, human systems. Eli looked at them both. He thought about Mia, about the example he was setting, about walking into fear with a plan. He smiled halfway. Give me 30 days trial, 5 public schools, 1 hospital, 1 library. If the numbers work, we talk more. Ava offered her hand, not an enthusiastic shake, just a slight nod. Deal. They shook, firm grip, equal pressure, a partnership beginning. Internal announcement went out. 7-week plan, 3 prongs. Prong 1, accessibility audit, elevators, ramps, buttons, lighting, signage. Prong 2, priority survival repairs, backup power, hallway lights, emergency exits. Prong 3, eye-level protocol training. All guidance happens at the recipient's eye level. The email included Eli's photo, hard hat, star stickers, fire badge visible on his chest. The caption, meet our new head of field readiness. Internal press requested interviews. Ava answered with 1 sentence. We put a working elevator button in place before we put slogans in place. A reporter pushed back. Some say this is performative, a PR move. Ava's response was ice. Then watch what we do, not what we say. When everyone left, Eli picked up the fire badge. He looked at the dull metal. The past still lived in his pocket, but the future lived in the plan board. He turned to Ava. My first day into fire, someone screamed, don't hurt me. I didn't promise that. I promised to hold the plan. Ava said, last night I whispered that. Today I choose not to let the system hurt anyone else. 2 people stood looking at the city through glass. The buildings looked like circuits, and they just reconnected a broken line. The announcement hit company channels at noon. Reactions split immediately. Some celebrated transparency. Others questioned experience. One comment stood out. Can a night shift worker really run million-dollar operations? Another replied. Can a CEO in a wheelchair run a tech company? Ask her revenue growth. The conversation shifted. People started sharing their own stories, disabilities, barriers, small victories. The thread grew to 300 comments in an hour. Eli saw it. Didn't reply. He'd spent years proving himself, not with words, with work. By 2 p.m., the executive team had drafted formal suspension terms for Caleb. Legal recommended external audit. HR began protocol reviews. The machine of accountability, slow but steady, began turning. Ava sat alone at 3 p.m. She thought about the broken key card, the first day back, the stares, the whispers. She'd wanted to quit 100 times that first month. But quitting meant letting fear win, and fear didn't deserve that power. Eli texted Mia, big day at work, tell you at dinner. Mia replied with 3-star emojis and, did you remember? Don't panic. He smiled, sent back, planned instead. At 4 p.m., Ava called her assistant. Clear my calendar tomorrow morning. I'm visiting the first school on Eli's list. I want to see what we're actually fixing. The assistant paused. That's not typical CEO protocol. Good, Ava said. Protocol is what got us here. Action is what gets us forward. The sun dropped lower. Glass towers caught gold light. Inside those towers, people made choices. Some chose comfort. Some chose courage. Ava and Eli had chosen the harder path. But harder didn't mean wrong. It just meant worth it. Week 1, District Library. Old signage replaced with clear pictograms. Motion sensor lights adjusted to stable lux levels for visually impaired patrons. Non-slip coating on the ramp. Eli knelt at eye level, showing a teenager on crutches how the new handrail worked. Smooth grip. Stable mount. The teen smiled. Finally feels like it's made for me. Week 2. Children's Hospital. Elevator buttons lowered to 95 centimeters. Hallways marked with colored lines. Mia volunteered to pick colors for the pediatric ward. Kids touched the lines laughing. Star rode to the elevator. A 12-second clip went viral. Eli kneeling, teaching a boy with arm crutches. Caption: teach us at our eye level. Week 3. Public school. Wide automatic doors installed. Bathroom stalls enlarged. Ava visited unannounced. Watched Eli work. He didn't perform for her, he just worked. That mattered. A teacher approached Ava. This is the first time I've seen a CEO care about what actually helps, not what looks good in photos. Ava replied simply, photos fade, functional doors don't. Week 4. An anonymous account leaked old records. Eli had been disciplined once for unauthorized route deviation. He'd turned the fire truck around to pick up an elderly woman during an evacuation. Comments divided. Some called it reckless. Others called it human. Eli stayed quiet. He'd broken procedure, but he'd saved a person. He'd make the same choice again. Ava posted internally. The risk of kindness is being misunderstood. The risk of apathy is losing humanity. The post spread widely. Employees started wearing eye-level protocol pins. Real person detail 2. Mia 3D printed star keychains. She engraved each one. We don't panic, we plan. She gave one to Ava. So if you're scared, you know you're not scared alone. Ava held it. Small weight, big meaning. She attached it next to the broken key card on her lanyard. Afternoon, rooftop quiet. Ava told stories of standing practice with support frames. Some days she moved backward, not forward. She didn't sugarcoat it. Eli listened without interrupting. Eli told the story of the boy during the warehouse fire. The boy had gripped his neck. Don't drop me, Eli had promised. When people are scared, they need someone to hold the plan, not just hold hands, unless they want that. Ava laughed out loud. Mia's mini hard hat sparkled with stickers. Wind lifted the edge of Ava's blazer. Peace had small sounds. Caleb's old team emailed apologies. They'd mocked the initiative before. Ava didn't name them publicly, just invited them to Access Day Saturday. Do better beats talk better. Invitations went out for the Access Readiness Center grand opening. Ava planned to stand briefly with prosthetics, then return to the wheelchair when tired. Honest about limits, no performance. Night before launch. Ava placed the star keychain next to the broken keycard. 2 small objects reflecting the nightlight. Tiny treasures of grown people. Eli walked the new center perimeter. Every exit clear, every light tested, every sign legible. He thought about all the fires he'd fought, all the people he'd carried. This wasn't firefighting, but it was still saving lives, just slower, quieter. He texted Mia. Tomorrow's the big day. She replied, don't panic. He wrote back, already planned. Ava couldn't sleep. She reviewed the speech 3 times, cut it down twice, finally settled on 30 seconds. If she couldn't say it fast, it wasn't worth saying. She thought about the parking garage, the moment Eli raised empty hands, the moment she'd felt safe, not pitied. That moment had changed everything. Some connections happen by accident, but they grow by choice. At 3 a.m., both were awake, Ava at her desk, Eli on his couch, both thinking about tomorrow. Both a little nervous, both ready. The city lights never fully went dark, and neither did the work. Launch morning. Clean, natural light poured through glass. Ava wore a white blazer. CEO badge visible. Eli's left shoulder lightly bandaged. Mia ran around handing out flyers, humming softly. We don't panic, we plan. Ribbon cutting. Ava spoke briefly. We don't fix the world in one day. Today we put one button in the right place. Applause filled the room. They inspected the emergency stairwell simulation. Suddenly, lights cut. Alarm beeped. Electrical smoke rose from the auxiliary shaft. Eli moved fast. Secondary circuit shorted. I'm going down to the basement. Ava said, wait for the engineering team. Eli replied, I designed that circuit. He entered the stairwell. Door slammed shut. Control panel froze. A technician reported only opens manually from the basement. Staff started to push Ava away. She said firmly, don't touch me. Show me the path to the basement. Ava drove her wheelchair into the maintenance corridor, put on insulated gloves, opened the panel, plugged override cable, pushed manual release lever. Sparks shot out. She rolled back, dodging heat. Eli, can you hear me? I hear you. Don't come deeper. There's smoke. I'm not panicking. I'm planning. The door released. Eli stepped out, coughing, leaned on Ava's wheelchair frame for balance. First time she supported him. Role reversal complete. The person once protected became the protector. Reporters captured footage. News spread. CEO with disability rescues engineer in elevator malfunction using her own company's technology. Afternoon. Ava sat by the glass doors. White, even sunlight. Eli and Mia arrived. Mia placed the star keychain on the table. We don't panic, we plan. Circle closing dialogue. Ava said, that first night I said, don't hurt me. Today I learned strength also means letting yourself be saved. Eli replied, and trusting that anyone can save anyone, sitting or standing. New policy announced. Heart Labs implemented mandatory no-touch policy for personal mobility devices without consent. Eye-level protocol standardized across all partners. Training required. Caleb left the company after investigation concluded. Job posting went out for new head of compliance. Requirement listed. Commitment to access and dignity. Final image. New elevator opened smoothly. Reflected Ava's prosthetic legs and wheelchair beside Eli's hard hat with star stickers. Glass door slightly open. Afternoon breeze cool. 3 people. Ava, Eli, Mia, walking together. Nobody supporting anyone. Just keeping the plan together. 6 months later, the Access Initiative expanded to 12 cities. Eli presented at a national safety conference, not as a former firefighter, as head of field readiness. His opening line, 45 seconds in a fire taught me what years of management couldn't. People don't need heroes. They need systems that work. Ava published an essay, titled, The Myth of Independence. Core message, true strength isn't refusing help. It's building a world where help is offered with respect, not pity. Mia started a school project, teaching classmates to design accessible playgrounds. Her teacher called it the most mature 3rd grade project she'd seen. 1-year anniversary. The broken key card went into a small display case at Heart Lab's lobby. Plaque underneath. Beginnings are rarely perfect. Progress is. Next to it, a star sticker. Mia's handwriting. We don't panic, we plan. Thousands of employees passed it daily. Some stopped, some smiled, some took photos, but most just walked by, doing their work, making access normal, not inspirational, just functional. That was the real victory. When accessibility became so standard, people stopped noticing it. Eli still checked exit signs during late shifts. Ava still kept appointments tight. Mia still made stickers. Some things changed. Some stayed the same. The city kept moving. So did they. If you believe planning beats panic and dignity beats pity, share this story. Subscribe for more stories of real strength.